What's up, everybody? This is Richard from Civilized Age Sabers. This is the full demo video for Rick on your custom MoM hero mashup. For those of you who are not following, what he opted to do was he wanted a mashup between the MoM hero and then the V2 of Luke's hilt. So we went ahead and chose the MoM because I had one of my last iterations of my built-in crystal chamber that was inspired by Rudy Pando and his interlocking chamber. So for me, for this chamber, this is probably, I guess you could say, the first or second generation. I have some other generations coming in the works, but they're definitely going to be different. They're not going to be the same as this. Anyway, so here's the specs. So we swapped out the emitter for a custom Saber Shop emitter. So basically what I did was, in order to do this, the MoM, in order to attach the emitter for reinforcement for dueling, they have a steel rod with a lip up here that goes all the way down and through here. So basically, I drilled out a hole in the emitter of the custom Saber Shop emitter and fit the threaded rod through that. The reason that was done was completely because the custom Saber Shop now offers a Luke emitter with an extension for more blade retention. Number one. Number two is their emitter has 4 retention screws for the blade, and then 2 micro retention screws for holding the PCB in there. I'm not crazy about those. They are incredibly tiny, and they're so small that there's not a whole lot of threads to them. I love where the thought came from of them. I have not had them be too sturdy for what I've done, so I've used super glue to also hold the PCB down in there. But oh, and not only are there 4 of these, but they're hidden, so you don't have the the ugly sight of a retention screw on the outside of either of these emitter caps. So I'm crazy about that. I've done this swap now to my personal Luke hilts. It's just I don't know, it just looks a lot better, and the strength is, you can't beat it. I tried for, God, at least a year now, begging Seven Chambers to offer an emitter cap of theirs with that, and I was shown a rendering that it was planned, but to this day, unfortunately, I have not seen anything, which is a shame. It's an absolute shame. We opted for the Luke brass thin neck, and then we went with the V2 Graflex clamp. We went with the V2 extended clamp lever and the V2 clamp card, the cone knob, the mystery chunk, and the D-ring. So technically, Rick, you have the first Luke V2, the closest to a V2 from 7 chambers that anybody's got, unless somebody else converted a MoM Hero into that, because they still have not shipped out their V2s, which I have no words for it at this point. There's been photos of showing, at least 100 of them on a table. So why they're not shipped out at this point, I just don't understand. I paid my deposit. I paid my final deposit, and that was basically a year ago at this point. So, yeah, I'm pretty frustrated about that. I have lost my faith in that. But anyway, this is not about that. This is about your hilt. So, you also decided you wanted to go with some light weathering. I did not do this weathering. This weathering was done by Paul over at Anchorhead Market on Etsy, and it turned out pretty gosh darn well. So well that I'm gonna have him do mine, my personal one. It just makes it look that much more real, rather than brand new shiny out of the box. It just doesn't look, the hilts don't look real like that. And you've got your double shine through emitter cap and your D-ring. You've got your static pommel, which has also been lightly weathered. And then again, yeah, lightly weathered blade extended emitter cap. You have 2 wrapped 18650 Keep Power batteries. I did them differently so that if you're ever at a Comic-Con, you will know which one you just used rather than wrapping them both in this exact same look. You might forget which one was charged and then which one was spent. So there's that. And then, yeah, on the batteries, this little nipple is the top of the chassis. This goes on the spring side, just so you don't do it backwards. All right, so let's check this baby out. Oh, so to get the chassis out, you're going to want to hold her like this and then hit your palm here with the other palm and cup it so that as you're hitting it and it slides out, you're going to catch it. Oh, wait. What am I thinking? You don't have to do you don't have to do it that way in this one. I think I'm thinking of a different I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a different Luke hilt. Hang on. So, here, let me get this back on here. Oh, and I've greased all the threads. Just FYI. You do the pommel. So you don't have to do that palm banging motion. And try not to get your fingers on the grease, because then you'll just kind of get it everywhere. And yeah, so then you're just gonna slide this puppy out. So here is your power core, and it's got a brass top with an aluminum bottom shell, 28mm speaker, Profi 2.2. It has twist activation, kill switch, stock PCB. And then this is the look of your other 18650 battery. SD card, which has been programmed to your liking. And let's check this out.
You underestimate my power.
Ooh. And then there are the female connectors right under the control box. So all you got to do is just line this up with the control box. Something to keep in mind on that, when you are threading and unthreading the grenade, or threading and unthreading the pommel, don't thread too hard and twist and whatever, because you can shift this Graflex clamp on the body just ever so slightly. I made it as tight as I could, without the buttons being too crammed in, and the clamp card being too crammed in. So you could end up moving the clamp away from lining up with the control of the connectors. So if you do that, just undo the lever, and then you should be able to grab the booster area and then just kind of try and shift it as best as you can to line it up again. I mean, in reality, it matters because you've got the wires going up through there, and then eventually you don't want them to get cut off or chopped off, but that really shouldn't happen. I've only had it where it became misaligned like once or twice by millimeters, and then I've had to realign it. So it really shouldn't happen to you. Don't manhandle this thing. Just try to be, gingerly with it. So let's pop that bad boy in there. There she goes. Nice and easy. Oh, and then anytime that you're threading in something, if you're going to want to kind of hold it from here so that you don't do the twist activation, or it's going to get annoying. So like if you're doing the grenade, hold the body like this and then just do the grenade. Trust me, it's happened to me where I'm just like constantly twisting and turning the darn thing on and off. So that's that. Now let's check out the crystal chamber. So once you get threaded out all the way, it'll basically not let you go any farther. You'll end up seeing or feeling something like this. All you got to do is get the little grenade to line up basically with the opposite side here. Then it'll find the channel, and then you twist towards here, and then that locks it in place. Okay, so that's that, and then that's the chamber. Brass, copper, aluminum base. You can unthread that out of there. I wouldn't though. If I were you, I would just kind of leave it as is. You really shouldn't have to mess with it ever. And over time, this grub screw could become loose, where this might slide completely off just from, you moving it around and using the hilt. If that ever happens, obviously just get an Allen key that fits it and just tighten it up. What I do is, as I'm tightening it, I'll slide it up and down, and then when I get to the point where I can't move it, then that means it's too tight. So then I just slightly back it off a little bit until I can move it, and then now I know it's in a decent amount, but it's also not too far in. And boom, that's that, baby. Yeah. Oh, see, I told you that'll happen. Anyway, so there's your double shine through. Pretty cool. Let's quickly check out the chamber before I put the blade in. Let's demo the chamber. See how she looks with all the different fonts. There we go. Oh, and I love the fact that I was able to pull off that spinning greebly. Turned out freaking badass. Just badass. And for me, the blue and the gold, there's just something about it that looks fan-freaking-tastic. We've got some shine through the bottom there. Lockup is holding aux. So to turn off the blade and the chamber, you just hold power. And top is power, bottom is aux. Now when the blade is off, to go to the next character, you're going to tap aux.
I'm a Jedi, like my father before me.
Now we're on Luke. All right, so let's check out the blade. So the blade is from the Saber Bay stock PCB. It is the NeoPixel blade with the bullet tip, sanded for a nice glowy finish. For this, I will be turning off the lights. Oh, you know what? Oh yeah, there's my Allen key. So, you are gonna have to get your own Allen keys. I don't have any spares. Now, when you're undoing the emitter, I'm not 100% sure why the Custom Saber Shop did this. They're not the only hilt manufacturer to do this, but instead of going righty-tighty and lefty-loosey, they went with the opposite. So to take this off, you got to go righty. To put it on, you got to go lefty. So, Allen key. And you really shouldn't have to put that much effort into these. You know, there's your stock PCB. Now, before you put this on, you're going to want to put the blade in. And you're going to want to balance the hilt on like your thigh. And then as you're tightening the Allen keys, you're going to want to push down a little bit, not too hard, but just enough so that the blade is sitting fully flush in there. And then give it a turn and a half maybe, and then just kind of get it hand tight. You don't need to over crank these. Again, because there's so many of them. And then now that you have that extended so that this thing sits deeper, you shouldn't have a problem. And what you can do if you want before you put the emitter cap on, you can kind of give it a wiggle. And if you feel some play in there, you can always come back and just kind of give it a nice little boop, just a little twist, not even a millimeter, or maybe a millimeter to every one of them. And I mean, it's raw, it's solid. And that's why I'm obsessed with these emitters from the Custom Saber Shop. I can say that I didn't go for their full. I'm not going for their full. And then if this also is not tightening enough, it could be for a couple reasons. It could be that when you put the blade in, you put it in slightly crooked. Which is probably Okay. Now it seems to be going. Yeah. So if this is getting snug, like up high before it's threaded down, it's likely either you didn't thread in one of the grenades, one of the grub screws far enough that it's hitting the threads, or that the blade is not straight and it's leaning and it's hitting the wall of the emitter, so it's creating friction, and that's why you're not able to do it. So don't force it, because you can screw up and cross thread the threads. So what I did was I kind of, forced the blade just a smidge until I found that the emitter cap wanted to go in nicely. And for a non-recessed blade, I have never, ever, ever felt one as strong as this. But yeah, so I don't go for the full Luke hilts from the custom saber shop, not because it's inferior product, but it just doesn't work with my interlocking chambers. What happens is, because you can unthread this black neck here from the actual grenade, in order to get threads in there, they have an inconsistent ID throughout the whole thing. So it's a wider ID down here and a narrower ID up here, and that just doesn't flow well with my chamber. So I don't use their grenades. I kind of hope that they eventually fix that, where it's just the same ID going the whole way. Who knows? But until then, I'm enjoying this. So yeah, let me turn some of these lights down so that we can really see the blade and all the cool features. How's that? That's still bright. Sorry, I've got really bright shop lights, and I've got a bunch of them, and they're on a daisy chain, so I wouldn't have many wiring problems. But there's a crux to the issue of that. When I go to turn them on or off, sometimes the one remote will turn off a few over here, but not the ones over there. So then I'll point over there, and then instead of turning those off, it'll turn those ones back on. It's kind of have to chase myself around. It's kind of annoying. Okay, so now we got that section off. Come on, just turn off for me, please. Oh, yes, we got it. All right, just takes a few annoying tries. Okay. Let's drop that. All right, let's fire this up. I might even turn that light off, but let's just see. There we go. So again, that's twist activation. The twist, I think, either has to be straight up or as horizontal as possible to work on and off. For the button controls, the top is power, bottom is aux. To turn on, you just tap power. To turn off the blade, you hold power. Okay? Now, when the blade is off, you can tap the aux button to go to the next character font. This one, where it just beeps, that's the display mode. So this is where there's no sound, it's just going to do the lighting, so that you can maybe admire the crystal chamber while it's on your, as a shelf queen on your shelf, right? Okay. That's where it beeps. So let's see who's next.
I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
Old Ben. Oh, and then so yeah, on the fonts, you've got Clash, but then you have Blaster Block by tapping the aux button while the blade is ignited. And then to do lockup, like you're locking up and holding with another lightsaber, you just hold aux. Let's see who's next. Daddy Vader. Oh, I probably shouldn't do that. My wife and kids are out there trying to sleep. Right, what's next here?
I want more.
I want more. So this is Anakin. This is the one that you wanted me to customize a little bit for you. So what you just heard him saying, I want more. That's one of some of the fonts that he's going to say, and it will change as you cycle through the other characters. So when we come back to him, this time it might be the other one, which one of them is where he's screaming like he's being burned alive on Mustafar. Another one is Palpatine saying Anakin. And then I think one of them is where he's screaming liar. But anyway, so then here's the one part of the fonts that you sent me. So upon activation,
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
now to get the clash or the slicing, clashing sounds where it sounds like he's chopping up the children, when the blade is ignited, you just tap the aux button. And then, what's it called? Lockup. Color change. So, color change is different on the Anakin font for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why this happened. But on the Anakin one, let me show you how it's done. So you turn on the blade.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
And you're gonna hold power and tap aux. And then you're gonna hear that weird little sound. Now make sure when you hold power, don't take too long to tap the aux button, because if you take too long by holding power, remember, it retracts the blade, okay? So now we're in color change mode, and you can turn to find the color that you want. And then once you find the color that you want, let's just make it easy and go to a lighter. Let's go here. Then you do the same thing. You hold power and tap aux, and then you're gonna hear a dee-doo-doo, and now it's selected. And then also, for some reason, when you color change, it becomes a responsive blade. So now as you swing it, the faster you swing it, the light it's gonna shine white, which is also kind of cool. It responds to your movement. Now, if you retract the blade and move on to another character and you come back to Anakin, it's going to stay this color. So if you want to go back to the original color, you have to go back into color change mode and find his color, which I think is right around here. It's like lightish blue, not super dark blue like Old Ben, but right about there. Now on the other fonts,
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
color change is different. So turn on the blade, but you're gonna hold power and tap aux the same way. Oh. Wait a minute. Okay, so Luke and Anakin are both the same, like, twist to color change. I was demoing this to myself, and it was doing something different. So let's see. Let's go to the other characters and see.
I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
I'm getting too old for this sort of thing. Alright, let's try Old Ben and see here. So, hold power, tap aux. Ah, okay. So, this is where it's different. Instead of twisting after you go into it, the mode, to change colors, you have to do the whole button thing. It's a button control. So, again, you're gonna hold power, tap aux. It goes to another color. You let go. Hold power, tap aux. Hold power, tap aux. Hold power, tap aux. Hold power, tap. Yeah. See, if you don't let go and you keep holding power and tapping aux, it's not gonna do. It's gonna do the blaster blocks. So in order to keep going, you have to fully release everything and then do it again. Hold power, tap aux.
Great disturbance in the force.
Hold power, tap aux. Hold power, tap aux. Come on. Hold power, tap. Hold power, tap aux. Let go. Hold power, tap aux. Let go. Hold power, tap aux. Almost there. There he is. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Now, when I was playing around with this, I discovered something that I didn't even know, I guess, is in the programming now. Apparently, you can do two things. One of them, honestly, I don't know how I got to this point, and I'm not sure how to get back, which is you can get the speaker to announce the level of power left in the battery. How I got in that mode, I'm not sure, and I am struggling to get back into it so I can show you. The other one that was completely shocking to me and is really, really cool, because in the old days you used to have to change the coding to do this. You can now, I'm pretty sure, I'm about to demo it and try it again and see if it works. You have on-demand volume control with the buttons. On demand. Before, you used to have to go into the code, raise the digits or lower the digits, and then reprogram the Profi board to change the volume, which was a hassle. So the way I think this works is you're probably going to have to slide the card out to do this, because with the card in, it's very difficult. I think you hold or tap both the aux and the power at the same time. So let's see what happens. I'm going to tap them and see what happens. Okay, that didn't work. All right, so now let's hold them together and see what happens. Oh. It's the music. So now that's how you get the music. The blade is off. You hold power and aux at the same time for a few seconds and then let go, and now you have the music playing in the background. Let's try holding aux and tapping power, which is the reverse of color change. Let's see what happens. Okay, to turn the music off, you hold power and aux at the same time for a few seconds. That's how you get the music to turn off. So yeah, now it's not doing the thing that it was doing for me, where I had the ability to lower or increase the volume with the buttons. Like, what the heck? Maybe with the blade off, let's do the same functions for color change, which was hold power and tap aux. Nothing. Oh, okay. So on Obi-Wan, hold with the blade off, all you have to do is hold power and then let go. It'll play the music. Let's see if it's different for one of the other characters. Let's move on. All right, so this is Vader. While the blade is off, let's hold power and see what happens. Okay. I have to turn that off so I don't get copyrighted. Okay, so that's that for Obi-Wan and Vader. Let's see who's next.
Is it possible to learn this power?
There's the other one. That's what he says. Is it possible to learn this power? So now we're back on Anakin. Let's see what happens holding power. Music again. All right. But I want to try this on this font and see what happens. I'm going to hold power and aux at the same time and let go at the same time. Nothing. I'm going to try the reverse of color change. So I'm going to hold aux and tap power.
3.84 volts.
There we go. So on Anakin, if you hold aux and tap power, I'm pretty sure it just told me how much juice is left in this battery. Okay. So now we know on Anakin you can there is a way to check the battery power. I still want to get to that volume control though. I can't figure out how it. All right, while the blade is off on the Anakin font, let's try the color change operations. Let's hold power and tap aux. Okay, didn't do anything. Huh. Man, this is frustrating. How did I do it? I'll have to ask the guys in the Profi group if this is a thing. I'm not there a whole lot. I don't quite follow every single thing that they do because those guys work really hard. They do a lot of things very quickly. It's kind of shocking to me. But it's got to be a thing. Let's try a different character and see if maybe it's on that one.
I am a Jedi.
This is Luke.
Like my father before me.
So I'm going to just hold power, see if there's music. Yep. Okay, let's see if there's battery operation. So how do we do that? Did we hold aux and tap power? Oh, I heard the beep. I found it. You hear that? Okay, so that beep gets louder when I go higher. But to get into it, on Luke, you hold aux and tap power, and then you hear that beep. So then that means you've entered into volume control mode. So now, if you just tap the power button, you're increasing the volume. If you want to lower it, you hit aux to go down. Let's hear it. It'll also, I think you'll hear the beep get quieter. Okay. So we found how to get into volume control mode, which is on the Luke font. I'm gonna put the volume back up. Because I always love it very high. And the reason it changes pitch is because you're once that beeping's reached its high point, but you want to go higher, it just changes the pitch of the beep. I don't think it changes what you're doing. All right, I think we've reached the highest we can go. So now the question is, how do we get out of here? How do we get out of the volume control mode? It's probably the same way we got in, which was hold aux and tap power with the blade off. On the Luke font. So now let's see if I just tap this, if the blade ignites. Yes! Yes! Figured it out. Okay, so to recap, on Luke, hold aux, tap power, hear the beep to get into volume control. To get out of it, hold aux, tap power, and then you're good to go. And then you can slide the card back in. Oh, and to do this, it's actually better to go from the bottom, or I'm sorry, from the top down. The top button is sitting a little flusher than the bottom button. And I have to add a little more tape because the card is still a little loose, and I want it to kind of sit a little more snug in there for you. But yeah, man, that is pretty much the rundown. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I missed. I don't think so. I think we covered everything. If any questions come up, man, I can't get over how freaking sturdy this is. It used to be where you would feel it move in any other Luke hilt, not only because there wasn't much strength here, but also the neopixel strip would bonk around inside the blade. Man, this is freaking awesome. I'm so glad you're getting this. I can't wait to get it to you. So I'm going to send you this video, and I hope you can watch it. And then as soon as you do, let me know if you have any questions. And then if all's good, I'm ready to ship it out to you any day. Whatever day you want, I can get it out there, as long as I don't have any errands with the kids and the family. But I should be able to get it out to you tomorrow, the day after, or whatever, in time for your Comic-Con. All right, man. Thanks again, and for supporting me. May the force be with you. Bye.